recording.
What are we transitioning from and into?
We're talking about the exciting drama and somewhat dispiriting in parts drama of last night, in which I believe the following thing happened. I'd like to get Janelle's take on it. I read it as uh, Saren got a little weird, understandably causing Janelle to be somewhat concerned, expressing mild concern to me, and expressing querying about it, basically saying, ought I feel concern, and how much concern ought I feel? And I replied after the thing that happened last night because I hadn't seen it until then. So, anyway, the point is, my take on it was, at least after the thing last night, that Saren's harmless. However, if I had gotten the message prior to the thing last night, I might have had a slightly sterner response because I wouldn't have felt such a need to counterbalance. Now, Saren did weird shit with me too. When I told him I was going on a trip, he's like, "Okay, well, I'll go along with you, and I'll start sending you an itinerary and stuff." And I'm like, "No, you will not go along with me. I'm going by myself on this trip. Thank you, Saren, though. I appreciate your offer." You know, it was unusual, obviously,
Have
but
you met him?
no,
Have you
Do you
seen
even know
Saren's
his
face?
real name?
I do know his first name.
Oh.
No.
It's only because he accidentally said it one time.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he was talking about himself, and he's like, she said his
He's going
name.
third person.
Yeah, he went third person, and he said his name.
Okay, this is supposed to be. I'm trying to be nice to Saren.
Yeah. Sure. Well, okay, that's not the point. The point is, Saren is legitimately as seventh slot FE as seventh slot FE can be, and I'm not trying to bust chops. I am, I would say, I think it's fair to say, an advocate for his inclusion and for his general acceptance and the acceptance of his failure. As I am in general advocate for the acceptance of failure in all people, knowing that we all fail.
And
And I,
that's why I wanted to call you. That was important to me because to have all that happen and then him not know why it even happened and be able to take responsibility for the things that maybe could have gone differently. That seems like the worst case scenario.
well, my basic read on it is that, and I don't know, I haven't seen all this stuff that went back and forth between Janelle, but and Saren. But my basic read on it is horribly ill advised, not ill intentioned. Janelle, what do you think?
I would hope it's. I mean, I don't think he has ill intentions necessarily. I don't know him, but I also don't know. Like, I don't know him. I don't know what he does with his time. I don't know what he spends his time thinking about. I don't know. So, for someone that I don't really know very well, to be very observant of me and then like be infatuated with me or whatever. Um, I don't know. It just was kind of weird.
I think that's an important thing to be talking about in all this is that you can't know if somebody's intentions aren't are okay and if they're not creepy and if they're not a serial killer
Okay,
if
but you got to default to something.
you don't have to. You can leave it open ended. You don't have to default to anything. And I think it's good for a girl to be questionable of a man's motives.
Sure.
Don't you?
No, listen, and I'm not denying the fact there's an element of Saren's temperament or just personality display that suggests like it suggests the word the infinitive to crack. Um, eh,
And keep in mind, she knows Saren much. She's had much less interactions. So we got to keep it going. Like what one thing I wanted this video to do is if there's other people doing the same, approaching women in the same type of manner, and I think they're going to claim their title at INTJ, is to go in with her, what she was experiencing. The fact that she hadn't talked a whole lot to him, she'd never seen his face. He had watched all of her YouTube videos. He had sent her he had jumped the gun into um, infatuation without having any reason to do so. I mean, I think that a girl is going to respond to a guy who has reasons to be interested in her.
What do you think about
Much.
this theory that this occurred because he had data about extra data about somebody that he could actually communicate with in real life, and thus thought, well, with all this data, I'm sure to be able to come up with a proposal that will meet her needs. Not understanding, of course, that there's an emotional and physical aspect to sexual attraction and relationship stuff that can't just be bypassed with TE solutions.
It's
Right.
key. It's
And
key,
it
right?
it wasn't even so after that, like I thought I had made it clear that it, our interactions would never go in a way of like anything romantically. Like if he wanted to type, like I tried talking to him before, and it just kept going down the same road. And I don't know why it wasn't computing in his head
Well,
that.
see, and that's a cause for concern. If you're telling him directly, this is not going to be anything that's romantic between us, and he's persisting in that kind of discourse regardless, then at that point there's not really any excuse for that. There's no failure to be understood if you're direct.
Yeah.
So, I mean, on that ground is something that I think any individual who's having difficulty with women, you might hear stories about how Aunt Jane, she didn't want to go out with Uncle Bob at first, but he was persistent, and eventually she ended up marrying him. You might hear those stories, but that's not this world anymore. This world is not that
No.
world, and there's no room for that kind of stuff. So let's not harass anybody, right? You know, we can
I mean,
fail. We
that's
can fail a lot more gracefully than that.
well, and the whole point is to expect failure. I mean, try and figure out a way to where you built rapport, you've made them laugh, you understand some things about them, you have a reason to be infatuated to begin with, and then ask for a phone number, ask for a date, ask for a Skype call, make them validate something in return. If not, move on before it get hurt, before it
Okay,
hurts. And
question: if the girl has a big ass, is that enough reason to be infatuated?
personal, it's whatever you sure. I don't know. You could
Thanks.
it's you just if you're supposed to find out more and more and more and
I'm
more,
gonna
and
have to
then get
edit
to
out
the.
your response to that question. I'm gonna have to edit it out completely. You dropped the ball, Nick. I
Well,
served you up. I served you up a
it's not
fancy,
though. It's
a
not a good enough
fancy
reason.
pinata. Now, I don't know exactly what you could have done with it. There's lots of things you could have done with it. You could have turned it into a volcano. Could have made it into a ham sandwich. I don't know.
I'm
But
trying to be serious here. I'm trying to.
okay, well, you gotta be able to shift gears faster than that. God damn it! I'm just kidding. Nick. I'm not busting your chops for reals. Okay.
If you ever stop busting my chops, I'll be upset.
Yeah, okay. Don't encourage me. um, so let's go back to this topic.
I
Uh,
like it when you play dirty.
uh, um, so okay, I don't want Saren to feel excommunicated despite this failure, but it would be nice if there would be some acknowledgement, like, okay, I shouldn't I shouldn't have and intend not in the future to persist in the face of direct rejection. That would be
Well,
a simple sort of thing to affirm as a claim or a statement.
yeah, I mean, I hate for something like this not to happen and then there to be no learning from it from anybody. Um, and he's quite defensive when it comes to entertaining other people's thoughts,
Well, what
opinions.
I've noticed with Saren is there's a major disconnect between communication. Like, what I say does not translate in his brain the same way I'm meaning it to. Like, what I'm saying, it doesn't, when he's hearing it, it's just like something different.
Did he express words about why he was confused, or that explained somehow what was where the miscommunication? Like, did he have any justifications for the quote unquote miscommunication?
We can
No.
break down the chat log.
No, we don't need to
There's
do that. There doesn't need to be an inquisition. I mean, I'm trying, I guess, to assess. Um, I'm trying to guess to assess like how how far past the line did he push it, you know? But the thing is,
I wasn't even going to address it
he's
like
already
that.
been. This is the thing. Despite everything else, no matter what the logics of it all are, I feel as though he got raked over the coals. So I feel as though some sort of justice has already been served. That cannot be pleasant. This video cannot be pleasant for him.
Well, that's why I thought we were going to do it more as let's talk about it briefly and let's go into maybe the do's and don'ts of approaching women and why it's creepy and
Okay, well let's transition
hopefully
into
prevent
that.
it and hopefully prevent some things like this happening again with
Okay,
whomever may be
well
watching.
let's transition into that. I'm gonna say one thing. I'm gonna ask Janelle if she agrees with this or her feedback. She's an actual woman, female woman. She should know about these things. Now here's a piece of advice somebody gave me. It was another woman gave me when I asked her. She said, if you are on a date with a chick, right? Okay, this is the chick. This is the dude. Okay, so you're on a date with a chick. Let's say you got on the date, you got in to get coffee or something. I don't know what you do on dates these days. And then you go walking on the beach. You're walking along the beach. Oh my gosh, look at the sunset. It's so beautiful. Yeah, it's beautiful over there. Okay, so this is the advice. If you want to get on her, then you shouldn't do
Get on
this.
her? Is that what you said?
Don't do this. Don't approach her from behind. That's a bad idea. That will make her feel intimidated. Don't do this. Don't approach her front ways like this. That'll make her go, ah. Don't do this. Don't back into her. That would be weird. Just stand next to her like this, abnormally close, but don't touch her. And then you just talk to her until, try to make a joke. You go, oh, that sunset's so there it is over there. And she goes, oh, you're so funny. And she'll touch you on the arm. And then you go, ooh la la. And you grab her boobs.
Rubber boots?
Are you
Grab her
taking
boobs. And then
notes?
you grab her boobs, I said.
Oh,
Yeah.
am I taking notes? Is that what should I be? I'm taking
Yes.
notes then.
Now, Janelle, do you think that's good advice?
I can see that working, yeah.
Okay. So, other pieces of advice, other tips for picking up on women or doing well with women or whatever. Sarah, and anybody else watching this, I firmly place myself in the camp of people who do not do well with women, who don't typically, uh, you know, meow them. I kind of meow them instead. So,
Well, there's a lot to this, though, right? I don't think you should have a master plan.
okay,
You got to go with the
but
flow, be
that
authentic,
but that's
say
not a
bold
master plan.
things.
That's a simple tip. Avoid backing into her. Right?
Nick, though, you can't just say be authentic, be yourself, because there's some things that guys do that are silly that turn women off initially and then they don't give them the time to get to know them, and then find out that they're not as awkward as they initially came off to be,
Tell
or
us those
weird.
things. What are things that people do commonly that are mistakes? Men do it, but it's a mistake. You're trying to go out, get on this woman, and you're talking her up, and you make some sort of mistake. Tell us what it is.
Hmm. In what way?
Well,
Like, are we talking about?
let's say I'm at the Facebook message level already. That somehow, I've been chatting this woman up. Let's say I met her um, at the supermarket, old school style. Okay, and she said, "Well, you should." I said, "Well, you can look me up, Eric Strauss, Simple City, be my Facebook friend." She did, and so then I started chatting her up on Facebook Messenger. Things are going pretty well, but all of a sudden I make this critical mistake and shit falls apart. But it's not something obvious that you think of right away, but it's something that a lot of guys do. That's the tip I
Probably
want.
insult her in a joking manner. Probably take it
Mm.
the wrong way. I know that happens to all women. That doesn't happen with me, but I mean, I've
It's a good
heard
tip.
it.
Don't insult chicks in a joking manner. Insult them seriously. Oh no, that's not
What?
Either way.
What?
right.
What? See, I think the whole point of starting off a conversation like that is have a date as soon as possible.
Have a
The longer
date
you
as soon
do
as possible.
texting, yeah, date. It should be anything like texting wise. Should be just trying to get your foot in the door, have a date, get her to open up, make her feel comfortable, learn about her, and I think it's not some. I think you can do anything and rub a girl the wrong way if you don't say it right, if you don't do it right. I think confidence is a big part of it all.
Hmm.
It's like proving yourself to yourself. Like you got to do this thing where you've worked on yourself just for yourself, and you like the person you are. You enjoy the person you are. And I mean, otherwise, how is somebody else going to like you if you don't like you? And then amuse yourself when you're out in public. Amuse yourself when you're talking to people. Be happy with who you are. And I think it's also good to be direct about. A lot of I notice a lot of people don't just straight up tell a girl, "Hey, I'm into you. Let's see, can we do something?" And I think that alone is a big differentiator. That'll help you get you further. And then just failing, trying a bunch of times, and learning from it.
Okay, good advice. Try again. Not with the same chick after she told you no, though.
No, it just
Try
you
different
leave.
chicks. Different chicks.
If, in fact, if it's failing, if you're just spinning your wheels, bounce, leave. That's another thing. When you think a big thing, your mindset. I mean, once you get past a certain point, obviously it's different. But during the first couple times you're talking to her, or first date, or something like that, if she's blatantly not into you and has shown no sign of anything after you've made some attempts to show her that you care, if she hasn't given you anything back, leave.
Well, a lot of people don't know what that is necessarily going to look like. I mean, I think I can tell now, but I would hope I generally could if it weren't too shrouded in girlish mystery. But I think a lot of people don't necessarily know. The girls are always kind of there's some body language things you can read are pretty easy. If a girl's going like this, you're not in good shape. This means
Yeah, like closed off body language.
we're not going. You're not going anywhere near these boobs of mine. That's what this means.
Well, and that's why you have to try it enough times, right? Because like you said, now. I mean, it's one of the things you just got to do, I think. And you got to do it, meaning like in a way where, sometimes you're not going to be able to tell if she's into you or not right off the bat, and you just got to put yourself out there and say and try and make something out of it.
Right.
I think I'm
Of
waiting,
course,
and
it's a
you
matter
need
of
you
pacing. I'm
correct me
sure.
if I miss.
I'm sure it's a matter of
I'm
pacing,
giving
right?
pacing
Matter.
is. I mean, I'm.
Hmm.
Like how you move from simple casual banter to something that's a little bit more charged is a matter of timing and pacing. You don't want to go too fast. You don't want to take too long. Right? Or wrong?
I'm sure. I'd say I'm not so good at that though.
Hmm. Well, I don't know.
I mean, she can tell you.
What do you think?
This is awful. It's awful for me to give advice because
What's up?
hang on. What, Joe?
No.
What were we talking about?
Chicks.
Why it's awful for you to give advice because
I am too easygoing for stuff like I am not your average woman. Like I don't I don't know. I'm just usually very accepting of the way people are. I mean, first dates have never been a catastrophe for me. They go well because I don't know.
You can carry the conversation?
Yeah, I genuinely show interest in people. So I don't usually go on a first date like, oh, let's see how this guy's gonna prove himself to me because I'm just so, like, I don't know.
full of it. Yeah, this is advice for women right here.
Yeah, so I don't know if any of what I say is valid.
Oh, sure it is.
Well, look, Janelle, what you're saying is on a first date, you behave like a decent human being, basically. But you're not saying you'll go on a first date with anybody. We've already determined
True.
that. So you're putting your barrier closer to the goal line, so to speak. It's like
Yeah.
So,
it,
well,
it's,
let's ask this: what has to happen for a guy to get a first date with you?
Background check? I'm just kidding.
Uh,
There has to be some sort of, well, connection. I don't need to know like a whole life story before I go on a first date with somebody, but usually you find like some sort of common interest, and like I can kind of get a sense if I'm going to vibe with a person or not. I don't know. Just
okay. Um,
hmm.
Interesting. All very interesting. So, obviously, dating changes as demographics change as well. So, for me, as 45-year-old man is probably equivalent to, um, 38 or so in women as far as years go. Because, as a general rule, at that age, um, between 35 and 45, you know, the it becomes people. Everybody starts self-identifying as middle-aged. Regardless, what my ex-wife was telling me though the other night is that she's finding as a 35-year-old woman that everybody she's encountering already is divorced, already has kids. That it's like there's not any actual pure single people left in the world at that age. But at your guys' age, which is mid late ish 20s, of course, it's I'm sure a much more active and probably is it less committally scene for
Yes.
dating?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you can make these kind of generalizations.
Yes, you can.
Oh,
Because you can take the average. Well, I don't know. I've just heard from plenty of people's experience. Guys are frustrated. Um, I don't really know. I know women want to go with whatever makes them feel good, and they make the common mistake of falling for a guy who just tells them all the right things initially, and then 2 weeks later they're gone. Um, and then the good guys can't seem to um, get, well, get a woman to commit. A woman that they want, anyways. I don't know. It's just a big mess. Online dating is
It's kind of a big
crazy.
mess. It's kind of a big mess.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, it's got to be better than it was back before the internet when you had a tiny community of people to become familiarized with that you actually could maybe meet somebody to date. You had to go to, you met people at parties and shit.
Mhm.
That's where I met my first wife,
Yeah.
at a party at my house. Um, well, I think it is a little depressing because what I've determined from my experience chatting with people on online dating stuff and going on a few online dates and stuff like that is just that people are people are jaded, that women are extremely distant, even if they're being nice, even if they're being warm, even if they're trying to convey openness or you know
Mhm.
interest or whatever. Um, they're still distant in the sense that your one potentiality of this whole set of projects is called dating at this point, because there's lots of other people that you could also try, and how perfect is this person really, and there's that kind of shit going on. Now, I mean, the thing is, I'm guilty of it too. I've had, you know, I've had at least one Tinder date where the woman followed up, contacted me again, but I wasn't interested. And it wasn't that she wasn't nice or anything. She was just super dumb.
Well, I think it's the big thing that matters is to find somebody you like and be the kind of person that attracts that person. Think about what kind of person that person that you're trying to attract likes, and then have a real conversation with them. Don't try and be perfect. You're not perfect. Nobody is perfect. And always have to keep in mind that it may be easier for me since I am a salesman. I've been a salesman for 8 years. I can talk to people about uncomfortable things. So I do have to take that into consideration. But
Yeah.
I'm, I just won't talk.
No, go right ahead.
Well, I don't want to be. I mean, this is very subjective. Everything I say is very subjective. I think that not trying to be perfect, showing where being able to be. I think it's also important to be like vulnerable to a girl, right? Like one that you like, one that you have rapport with. Be open up, show them how you feel and for real, and then that makes it easier for them to do the same if they
Hey,
choose to.
hey, I'm incredibly needy.
Not
Want
mad. You don't can't be
want to
needy.
go out with me? No, that's not that kind of vulnerability.
I I don't know. What works for me what works for me may be horrible advice for somebody else.
Well, I think what I just said would be horrible advice for anybody, Nick.
Yes.
I think it's fair to say that would be ill-advised to
You could
express
say it in a
vulnerability
way
in
that
that
would work
fashion.
though. You could
Well,
say it in a way that would work though.
you'd
At the
have to.
same
It would
time.
I
have
feel
to
like
be a joke. It has to be a really well timed and well set up joke. Otherwise, it'd be a mistake. Go ahead, Janelle. Sorry to cut you off.
oh, I was just gonna say unless you're pursuing like a motherly looking woman who wants to take care of a needy person, but
Well,
Yeah,
I
there's some
am, but
people.
I wouldn't call myself needy. That's really sort of a misleading way to put it. What I am is demandy, not needy. I have a lot of
Well,
demands. I'm
well,
not exactly needy.
is what you're trying to get from the relationship is it equal to what you would be willing to put in? I think is a good question to ask. I think you got to match their.
Yes, and I think what I have is a spectrum of possible relationships and a spectrum of possible Erics that would match up with them. That I'd be okay
You don't
with.
want to change yourself a whole lot. I mean,
It
do you
depends. It for the right woman. I mean, I'm not going to change myself, but for the right woman, I can prioritize
work?
other aspects of myself more heavily.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think you need to, right? But um, that I mean, I'm just trying to figure out what needy is because I think we're all needy at some level. We all need something out of a relationship if we're in it.
Yeah, I feel considerably less needy than I've ever felt before.
That's good. Cause you got your dick wet recently.
That's true. But even before that, I wasn't feeling needy.
Wow, chicka wow
I
wow.
was just feeling.
Chicka wow.
I was just feeling.
What happened to that?
Well, I hung out with my ex-wife the other night, and I,
You
I,
got him some poon.
it was just like I just like, I should try to, I should try to make that happen. And it just kind of fell into place. I quit. I had my 3 year quit drinking anniversary. She texted me saying, like, "Hey, congratulations on that."
Oh,
Um,
that's nice of her.
which is really nice of her, and we've
Sweet.
gotten along really well ever since we split up. But anyway, we haven't touched each other in over a year. So
Did she enjoy it?
yeah, we both had a good time. It was fun. We went out to dinner. We went and got Asian massages at the body massage place. It's $30 an hour per person. It's just cheap. It's pretty cheap.
Great.
And I tell you, these Chinese chicks, they don't speak hardly a word of English, but they get every part of you except for your junk. Like they'll get all up the inside of your thighs, and you're just like, oh my god, what are you doing? And but they get every part. They massage the shit out of your butt, and
Ah,
That would be
so you're
cool.
ready to go, man.
yeah, so we
You're
went and
like,
got massages. We were in separate rooms, but then we
you
were done
came
with
out
that.
like
We went back home.
that was like,
I was just like, you should come in. And she's like, okay. It was that easy. So,
had you when you said you should come in? Did you know what you were wanting? You're like, I'm gonna
yeah, I
try and
took
make.
a shower and put on clean clothes and put on deodorant before I went out with her.
Oh, so you wouldn't have otherwise.
No, I wouldn't
So
have
you're
otherwise.
you're trying to make it happen from the very beginning.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
But it wasn't. It was as I said, hey, we should go out to dinner after she texted me. It's like as I said that I thought, should I take a shower? I'm like, yeah, I should take a shower. And just like that.
You should think about that whenever you go out, in case you just meet the one that you really hit it off with. You got to have that hygiene in place.
I took a shower tonight, but it was just because you said you were going to take a shower, and it got in my head that it sounded like a good idea, so then I took a shower.
I watched that video of me on the one that you. I can't believe you titled it that, but puss.
First player versus first failure.
Yeah, I watched that video and was like, man, I didn't shower right before, probably a day and a half before doing that thing. So
Day and a
I'm
half's
never
just
gonna make
getting
a video.
started, Nick. That is just getting started. A day and a half. You're barely doing any work building up the good gamey stench. I like to build up a rich gamey smell over the course of about 4 or 5 days. Maybe
Oh man!
maybe
Oh,
maybe pour some milk down my pants to really brighten it up.
oh. Well, my ex could go like 3 days without taking a shower and not stink. I could go a day and a half, and that's when it starts hitting me. To each their own.
Eric, we've identified your women problem. So,
Yeah,
when I think I'm going
important.
anywhere where I might meet chicks or something, then I usually shower.
Shit, shower, shave.
Yeah, you get. I'm not shaved, but I'll like pluck some hairs. I'll pluck a few hairs from here. I don't like hairs growing here in the middle spot either, so I'll pluck those hairs. I don't want to be like casual INTP with his fucking monobrow.
Boy,
You see, he
is,
shaved in the middle after that video when he had the monobrow.
good. I'm glad he did that.
Yeah,
But
he must have gotten
boy,
some
is
shit
this,
about it or something.
this is what two ENTPs do when trying to make a video, and they
This
know they're going to edit it.
It's gonna be
But then,
fun. It's gonna be a fun video, I think.
yeah,
Janelle, you got
sure.
anything to add on any of these various topics that we bounced around? What do you think about the monobrow? Are you opposed? If a man has a monobrow, does that disqualify him for you?
No, I'll pluck it though, eventually.
What if it's like fucking boom, like this thick, just fucking brow? Other than that, he's perfectly handsome, just what you're looking for in a man. But he's got this fucking like visor brow, just thick ass brow, and he's proud of it. He's like, yeah.
Look at my brow.
Hey, you see my brow?
I'm on the brow with my brow. And I'll throw it in a scowl along with my brow.
No.
You're disqualifying him because of the brow.
Well, like, I don't know if I would necessarily like that confidence behind it either. I
And
don't
his
know.
and his license plate is it's a vanity plate. It says brow.
You know,
Well,
disqualified.
Okay, well, that's another tip for those of you out there who are sporting the monobrow. Don't get too proud about it, or you might be disqualified from some women's lists.
appearance is important, right? Not everybody. Listen, we're not all attractive people, but you can work on that shit.
We can all pluck right here.
Don't wear ridiculous clothes. Take care of yourself.
And if you're not going to, don't be disappointed when somebody disqualifies you because of the way you look.
Exactly.
Remember this too. This shirt charms the pants off of women. They see it and their pants just fall right off. It's amazing.
I need to look for mine.
Yeah, I can't believe you lost it. It's gotta be there, dude. You gotta find it.
We need to sell those to all the INTJs of the world.
Yeah, this will help them a lot.
I
This,
think so.
you know what? I believe, I'm pretty sure, Nick, you're gonna have to verify this for me, but I'm pretty sure that Nick, Push Slayer Extraordinaire, has endorsed this shirt as officially charming the pants off of women.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Nick. I appreciate it. That's very good. Very good to know. And I want you to know that quadruple.com has certified you as an official Puss Slayer Extraordinaire. So congratulations.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you.
Okay, well, that's going to bring this video to a close. That was a lot of fun hanging out with you guys talking about this exciting topic of romance. Young love is in the air. Springtime is just around the corner, friends. You go out there and find yourself a mate and start a humping.